Hi everyone, welcome to our first episode of the Raw CEO. My name is Elsa. You may have heard of me before, and I am here with our CEO, or co-CEO.
Co-CEO. Lots of things have changed.
Jeff Doidge. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks. Yeah, actually, let's pick up on that point. The co-CEO, I've been not demoted, but Tony has been elevated.
She has.
Well, I'm a material girl living in a material world. And I think it's really important that equality is one of the things that we have a look at. I mean, there's lots of talk about equality at the moment. I mean, I'm not even going to go there. I don't even think you can mention things. But in terms of the company is concerned, a lot of people ask about, the company, how it was founded. And we're going to talk a lot about where we started, what drives us, and behind the scenes. And this is not us driving around with flashy music, with girls on poles and our bling bling everywhere, which, and I appreciate it. If that works for you, that's great. But business is not like that.
No.
It's very tough sometimes and it's really rewarding. But this is really a podcast to let people ask questions that they always want to know. And we're going to give you the truth. And I'm not reading the questions beforehand. So I've actually purposely said, get some questions. What do people want to know? I'm here to answer virtually anything unless you're an absolute tool and we're not going to read out your questions. But for real people, not fake people, we're going to answer your questions. So if you've got questions, if you're listening to this and you want to know, more about behind the scenes. And of course, a lot of people who know ATP who have followed us, I mean, we started up about a decade ago. There's lots of stuff happened over, especially the last couple of years. I mean, over the last decade we call it ATP time, but that's kind of what we're going to do. And so it's just in the raw, because we're just not going to hold back. If you ask us a question, we're going to answer it. Yeah,
and I think now more than ever is probably the perfect time to do it, right? The last 12 to 24 months has been the roller coaster for ATP science. So, I mean, let's start it off. I've got up the first question here. So it's a big question, but I thought I'd start it off with this one. So
no easy questions.
Drum roll,
what about
please.
Softball questions. Better Kafka. Come on.
All right. So what has been your highest high and your lowest low since starting ATP science?
Right. From a company's point of view, it is our highest high. I mean, there's been lots of really great moments within the company taking over. I remember standing at the doors to our old facility when we decided that we had had enough of working with contract manufacturers, and we just seemed to have kicked every single rock we possibly could. And not all contract manufacturers are bad, but I'm telling you what, even to this day, we're still having frustrations with contract manufacturers. But I remember walking into the new facility with Tony and Matt, and we looked at it and went, oh my God, this thing is huge. And even Tony said, how are we going to utilize all of this space? But within 12 months, we not only were using all that space, but we actually needed to hire sheds across the road. And then we rapidly outgrew. In fact, pretty much since we took that facility on, which I think was around about 2015,
sounds about right.
We just went through a rapid growth, and we couldn't actually keep up with demand, and we were constantly bursting at the seams. So that would probably be one of the proudest moments. The next proudest moment, and we actually just went through the tour of the facility here. This facility is like 5 times the size of that facility. And oftentimes when you're up in the office and you kind of need to take stock of where things are, step back and actually have a look and see, what you've been able to achieve. And just walking through the facility here, I know some of the people have seen the facility.
It's ginormous. For anyone that follows us on social media, you would have seen the behind the scenes of it being built. I mean, we haven't even shown all the full footage that we've taken over the full build, and it's still going, obviously, like the manufacturing's being built out at the moment.
And I guess it all ties back into the fact that we wanted to produce products and provide information that would help people. We wanted to do new things. We always said that we wanted to create new products and ways to help people. We wanted to, if we're going to create a product, it had to be best in class or have a unique point of difference or be something completely unique. And it's off the back of that and the success of that, I think, that has allowed us to just consistently invest back into, the company. Tony, Matt, and myself haven't taken, anything out of the company. We just keep putting back in and keep reinvesting back in. and even, bringing on investment, which is something that's just recently happened as well too, from an investment fund, to really take the company to the next level. Because our vision ultimately, before anything else, is to help as many people as we possibly can. And that means that we want to take our product to the world. And I guess to answer the question short, it's probably those two moments, looking at the facilities, looking at how far we've come from, just the initial concept in terms of what we were trying to do. So looking at and just walking around going, oh my gosh, so, can you actually believe that we've created this? I still was walking through the other day here just going, man, this thing is an absolute huge facility, and we're going to be able to create a lot of products that's hopefully going to be able to help a lot of people. So yeah, that would probably be the high. Was it the worst thing?
The lowest low, yeah.
Oh man,
I feel like there are probably I can think of a lot. But
there are a lot. Do you want to throw some at me, and I'll tell you where they rate on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, there's a lot of people and contractors we've come into play in the last. For the whole period that ATP Science has been around. But then also our run-ins with regulations have played a big part on it. I know, especially coming from the marketing team.
Life's not fair. And this is the thing. People go, oh, that's not fair. And, some people slip through and they seem to, get into the slipstream and just everything falls into place for them. Other companies, you do it tough. Regardless, you can't say, is life fair? Because life, it's not going right. We're going to be really unfair to this person. I mean, obviously, you like to have things fall into your favor, unfortunately, especially over the last couple of years. But even right from the very beginning, I mean, Tony and I started in the health industry in 2002. We opened our own supplement store. We fell in love with the industry. We then decided that we wanted to go down more natural pathways and remove a lot of the stuff in the industry that we were selling that wasn't actually good for you. We started the company with $70,000, $60,000, and we did everything that we possibly could to bootstrap the business and make it work. Very early on, we had somebody that we trusted really closely that was running our retail business at that time. We employed a ton of their family as well too. And they ended up ripping off $160,000 out of the business, $50,000 just out of our eBay account, because we were focused on building this and not keeping our eye on that. And that was a real shame because we were really close to these people. I mean, and you trust them, and I guess that's the confidence thing, right? And again, look, in fact, we've made up. I mean, I put stuff into police. Police just did not care. We had evidence. We had all the information. And seriously, if it's white collar crime, tip of the hat to you guys, because go for it as far as the police are concerned. So yeah, we got absolutely shellacking there. We were dragged through the mud very early on. I'm the devil and I'm a really bad guy, and it's all that sort of rubbish that went on. But just last year or the year before, he actually reached out to me and we actually made up. And this is one of the common themes as far as I'm concerned. While I might not trust that person again, I don't want to live with unforgiveness because, as I've said a lot in other podcasts, is that living with unforgiveness and hating people is like drinking poison and expecting them to die. Realistically, you're only damaging yourself. And sometimes you've just got to learn that those things are in the past, put them behind you. Otherwise, they're just going to work as an anchor and drag you down. So that was a really tough time. I think, at that time as well, too, this is the stories of, me having to play poker to actually make ends meet as far as not only providing for the business and keep the doors open in the business, but even providing food.
Yeah, and just for your family, right?
It was fun. So that was really tough. We've dealt with so many consultants, and we actually laugh now. We call consultants consultants because most of them are just absolute frauds. Even this year, we had somebody that we trusted ripping us off, helping us to establish new markets. We've had some absolute con men that have, effectively we've gone out and asked friends, hey, look, is this person good? Can we deal with them? Yeah, they're great. And it's like, oh, why did you say that? These people are terrible. But through this as well, too, you learn not to be so naive. You learn not to really trust in terms of unqualified trust. So
also pushes you in the direction that, where you've got to today, right? So all of those experiences collectively
Yeah.
you know, you probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, whatever the old saying is, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that is true to an extent, because you learn how to deal. You learn, okay, does that sound right? Does that sniff right? Have I done my due diligence? Am I being lazy and just going, here you go? Which probably, when we were moving really quickly and we were growing really fast, that was the problem, is that probably didn't take enough time to do the due diligence that we needed to on the people. Now our contracts are out the wazoo. In fact, I'm almost apologetic sometimes because they are so stringent, but you always put stack the deck in your favor, so that if anything goes wrong, you have the ability to be able to go, no, we're out. So all of our contracts now, I say, have a get out of jail clause, so that if it's not working, I will never put the company or ourselves into a position where we are beholden to something where they can go rogue on us, because they just keep happening to do so. So that was probably the hardest point back then. We've had a lot of others like it. But, so going from the best to the worst, that's probably it.
Cool. All right. Not so big of a question now, but Michelle from the tribe has asked, how big are your calves now?
Tiny. I think they're inverted. Look, the funny thing is, though, is that I look at it this way. I'm a sprinter, and sprinters typically normally have high, small, ball-like calves. So I don't apologise for my speed. I was built for speed, not for aesthetics. I think, I don't know. Not great. It's a bit of a running joke. Though I think Grant, who's the national sales manager, was the national sales manager, I think his calves were probably worse than mine. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We love you, Grant. Okay, next question from Paige in the tribe. What made you decide that a podcast was the best way to bring information to the masses?
Okay, so
great question.
Yeah, it is a really good question. I mean, when we first started it, we really started, and this is the ATP project, and I guess then coming on to this one as well too, is that there's only so much that you can read, and some people audio, some people like to learn that way, some people like to whack on their headphones when they're training or when they're in the car. They want something a little bit more than just listening to music or what have you. But we really did it as an education tool to sort of talk about our philosophy, what we believed in. We then started sharing information in terms of the depth and the what goes into our products, because they're quite difficult to explain. A lot of companies will formulate with one target in mind for their products, and again, as Matt created these products, some of them are really multifaceted. So we wanted an ability to be able to share our philosophy, share our views, give away information, talk about health, talk about healthy lifestyles. I mean, Matt and Steve and Elisma are some of the smartest people I know in terms of health and wellness and performance. And we wanted a platform to be able to get that across. Hence, though, we have actually got in trouble, and I think we got into trouble a couple of years ago. Even though we're running an international business and we're trying to compete on a global scale, because we're an Australian company, we have to be very careful that we abide by the rules in Australia with the ARTG, which is about advertising and how you promote products. A law changed back, I think, in 2018, in September, I think it was.
October, yeah.
Where podcasts were considered to be advertising material. And we certainly did. We actually spoke specifically about the products, the ingredients. And because those products weren't listed here in Australia with the ARTG, that's actually in breach of the advertising code. Like it or not, it's a rule, it's a regulation, and we copped some. We copped it. We copped some fines. I mean, again, initially, I think the way that we dealt with the TGA was very difficult for us, and it sometimes I thought unfair. But regardless, as far as black and white is concerned, and look, our relationship with the TGA once we sorted it out was actually really good, and we understood where we had made the mistakes, and we have done everything going forward, and we've changed our strategy. We're now working with TGA manufacturing, but at this point in time, we have changed all of those things, and including the podcast as well too, where we. And again, this is a hard thing for us. The podcast is designed for information education that goes out globally. We want to lift the brand globally. We're an Australian company, and this is the hand that you have behind your back, and this is when you talk about life being unfair. You just have to abide by the rules and the regulations as they apply to you. But the whole idea of the podcast was to cut through the crap and just talk to people about our philosophy and our company. So that's why we did it. And look, we didn't really expect it to be that popular when we started, because we thought it was really niche and we were just going to be talking to a few personal trainers and maybe the odd person here and there, but it went really, really well. And I think that's because we just spoke from the heart. We're not particularly polished. I mean, look at Matt, totally but I think people like that because we're just
real.
ourselves. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, awesome. All right, this one's also to do with the podcast, but from Laura in the tribe. Who designed the ATP Project dog creature and why? The monster dog face is awesome, but I've always wanted to know the origins.
Again, it was just a bit of fun. So
it's Tony to start with created it.
Yeah, and again, we'll talk more about Tony in a minute. But Tony, who's my wife, is also a director in the company, but she's also does all of the artwork, all of the branding. She's responsible for all of that. There was this really cool before and after photo of a guy that was taking some random supplement. I think it went back to the 90s. It might have been early 2000s. And it's this guy, and he's got like his before photo. You know the ones that they do where he's sort of standing up and, the paper and what have you, and he's like, this is me before I took product X, and then it goes, and this is me, after, and he's like, he transforms into this T-Rex, I love it, right? It's so funny, it's just stupid. But because of that, Tony sort of got inspired by the whole T-Rex dinosaur thing, and it was kind of for the Prototype 7, which was the precursor to the Prototype 8, a product, unfortunately, which we've had to remove because it was deemed to be therapeutic. But it was a product that was designed to transform you. But we all really loved the dog. We thought it was really cool. And because we had the talking heads and, we thought, a couple of yapping dogs, which Matt and I are, we thought, it can kind of work as a bit of a mascot, something that would stand out. Because, everyone, these suave people like, maybe a fireside and, glass of sherry or something. It's like, we just don't take ourselves that seriously. So we kind of used the yapping dog, the barking monster dog. And it kind of, sort of fit. I love it. I still love that.
Yeah,
that
I think
dog.
it's awesome. And it's like, it's a unique creature. The podcast is unique. So,
well, and that's a big one. And I'd love to remind me later to talk about uniqueness and the industry and just doing stuff different. Just
purple cow.
Yeah. Bring something of value that's unique rather than just freaking copying everything else. If you're true to your own identity and you do your thing really well, but unfortunately, there seems to be a lack of originality which permeates a lot of industries. So
yeah, definitely. This is a nice light question from Elliot in the tribe. I thought I'd definitely add this one in. Do you only employ good-looking people?
Yes.
That's an easy one. Okay, next. No.
No, we have some real ugly people that work for us as well too. But you just won't see them on camera. No.
That's just a trick question.
I know it's a trick question. Well, everyone's beautiful in their own way.
Yes, so. Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. All right, another great question from someone in the tribe. Claire, who is getting Employee of the Year and why? And who is not getting Employee of the Year and why? So brutal.
Gosh.
Wow.
And
you can't say me because I'm here, so...
Employee of the Year. A couple of years ago, it was Anu, who's actually our production manager. What he did and, just his constant attitude, he constantly turning up and just putting it. And these are the people behind the scenes that, aren't on social media. They're not part of the customer service crew. And they're really... Yeah, we've got some great people. I honestly don't know. There's quite a few candidates that could probably go up for Employee of the Year, and it could be anybody from in manufacturing. It could be customer service. We've even got a finance team now, a CFO, and he's got. Those guys, the amount of work that they're doing. Oh my gosh! So, to be honest, it could probably go to any number of people, and most likely. Someone back of stage, not the sales rep. They're lazy bastards.
Yeah.
They take all the accolades and get all the, oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. While the power, like people like Brooko and that who do all the hard work, who work the long hours. She's sitting in the room right now laughing. But again, but it's true. It's typically the people that you don't
get
see.
Seen. Yeah. And it's also collective, right? So many people.
Who's not getting Employee of the Year? Well, unfortunately, we've had to make a few redundancies this year. Certainly COVID has really taken a bite out of us at a time when we're obviously trying to expand. So there's no people that I'd single out and go, they're crap.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh. All right, let's move on. All right. How do I get the knowledge of all of the smart ATP crew? Oh, thank you. Would love to know what everyone's qualifications are and experience. I'd love to get into natural medicine. And their degrees there's quite a few, isn't there? I'm trying to think of what they are.
Well, Steve's
off the top of my head.
Steve's he's a chemist of some sort. Matt's health science, but he worked as a researcher for a long time. A lot of stuff is self-learned. Elizma's also got her degrees in health science, and again, all qualified naturopaths as well too. But I think I was looking the other day, though, I think we have 17 Bachelor of Health Science in the organisation.
Yeah, we do. We've actually done a couple of social posts on it, just kind of showing, I suppose, our team and how smart we are, I suppose.
Except for me, I got nothing.
I think I was going to say as well, I think a big thing with it is obviously also the degree, but having an open mind 100%. Is a huge thing in our organisation.
If you're looking to go out and create a career out of it, then you need to get qualification. It's like a lot of PTs out there can go and do a 6 weeks course and become a PT. Some of them are great because they've actually got their own interest, their knowledge, they study, they have a program, and not all PTs you would say are considered to be the same versus somebody who woke up one morning and had an entrepreneurial seizure and went, I'm going to become a PT, does a 6 week course, and then is out there trying to teach people something, even though 12 months before they had no idea what they're doing. Same thing, I guess, with our team as well too. It's not just about getting qualification on a piece of paper. They really understand the material. They really dive into it. Matt knows the body, and Lisma and Steve, but Matt, and actually Lisma's genius in her own right, like ridiculously amazing. But Matt understands the body not just from a parrot point of view, and that's the thing. Once you really are passionate about something, then you won't do something just for a accreditation or a paper. You'll do it because you actually want to provide solutions. And so I think, if you just want to learn about it, then I would look at all different sources. In terms of a lot of the textbooks and things that Matt studied, I mean, he goes right into the ancient Ayurvedic and Chinese textbooks. He's always trying to, and then he uses modern science to understand pathways as well too. The way that he works is he takes both. So he looks at things from an anecdotal and an ancient because he says there's a lot of wisdom there through trial and error. They knew what worked and what didn't. But then he'll try and find the scientific evidence in scientific journals, PubMed, and he'll laugh at me because there's 1,000 of them that he will go through, not just PubMed, and actually try and understand the actual actions of those compounds that have been isolated that we've known about for thousands of years, but why they work. And that's the beauty, because then it's not just reliant on tradition and folklore. There's actually science behind it. Once you truly understand that, and you've got a good understanding of biochemistry as well too, like Matt's an energy and hormone specialist, then you understand how these things work in the body. If you got that level of passion, my gosh, you'd be the best naturopath and or natural health person around. And that's, I think, probably what it would take. So
and question everything. Don't be afraid to question
everything
out there.
Absolutely.
All right. Next question from Aaron in the tribe. When will you be getting an ATP puppy mascot?
We've got an ATP
Funny
puppy
you
mascot.
say that.
Yeah.
We actually have a few now.
Yeah. I mean, you've got your dog and we've got Biscuit.
Frank, Biscuit. We've got now Ruby.
Biscuit the silly sausage actually has his own hashtag.
Yeah, make sure you go follow him.
Dog. Yeah, we had a couple of, Cocker Spaniels, for many years. Our 17-year-old Cocker Spaniel passed away last year. Again, all natural diet, and he was still running around like a puppy up until, not long before he unfortunately passed away. He actually ate a toad. That's not what killed him, but it made him really sick a couple of years ago. He got really sick. We thought he was going to die. I took him to emergency. He survived, but we think that compromise his health. Otherwise, I reckon he'd still be kicking around because, you remember Barney, such a great dog.
I remember I had a house sit for you guys and Tony was like, so when his food runs out, you just need to cook him like all of this. And there was like this list of food and ingredients and vegetables and everything. And I'm standing there like making this huge pot of food. And I was like, man, I don't even get food like this. This is crazy.
Tony's, even now as well too with Biscuit. Kibble is, again, one of the worst things that you can give to a dog is dry dog food. I mean, Tony's pulling up research all the time on, dogs' teeth health with plaque, and they've actually done. Did she share that with you?
She did, yeah. Fascinating.
I'm terrible with retaining details, but I think within the space of about 14 days.
Yeah, it was like 7 to 14 days.
And these are perfect examples of obviously the philosophies that we believe. But anyway, to get back to the question, Biscuit and Biscuit the silly sausage,
Biscuit,
if you want to have a look
definitely.
at him he's a beautiful little animal.
He's very funny.
And
so
he's
much
a long-haired
sass.
miniature Dashin, so
No,
he's cool.
we've got lots of puppies in the office. It's really fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into some questions around products and product development. So I've got one here. What are the challenges behind the Mellow Bar? This was going to be one of your best sellers.
Yep. So
it was for a period of time.
Great. I mean, a great product. I absolutely love the consistency. One of the things we're really committed to, and this is where obviously the rubber meets the road in terms of commercialization versus the philosophy that you have when you're creating products. Mellow Bar, really, really unique, really different. We wanted to create something that was good for you, high in collagen, but none of the nasties, no artificial colors, preservatives, sweeteners, any of that sort of stuff. Because no one's done this before, and because we're not just prepared to, utilize what's already out there, we created this ourselves. The stability, unfortunately, and again, we had some process changes that happened as well too. But ultimately, because we weren't prepared to use artificial preservatives, the product oxidized. And so we had to remove it from the market. Mm-hmm. We have got solutions in relation to how we're going to resolve that issue.
Exciting.
But and it'll be an improvement. It will be back, but not in quite its current format. The bar project, which is interesting, it's been over 3 years since we originally had the concept. We've created a patent around it as well too. In fact, we've got numerous patents across a lot of our products that are coming out. Simply because I'm sick of the freaking copycatters, man. Oh my gosh. You want to ask me what pisses me off? It's just piss off, you bunch of wankers. Like, seriously, I mean, go and have an original thought. I see so many companies, not even us, they're copying other companies. I'm just sitting there going, how does the market support you losers? But this is the thing. As long as people do support copycat products, it's going to obviously continue. But, celebrate companies that actually try something and actually deliver something that's unique and different. I mean, that's always really, really cool. But, 3 years of going around trying to make this product work, and then just deciding, screw it, we're going to do it ourselves. And so we have invested millions and millions of dollars into this new facility, into that line, to create something that is truly unique with a patent on it. So if you come anywhere near it, I'm going to sue your ass. To the competitors that will be listening to this, because you have no original ideas of your own. Hi, guys. And then I think in terms of just owning up to your mistakes, recognizing where you go wrong. I always take a lot of inspiration from Thomas Edison. Trying to create trying to create something always is fraught with failures. But so long as you don't accept that failure as permanent, then you'll never fail, if that makes sense. I mean, you might fail, but you overcome it. You don't accept a temporary setback as a complete loss. And that's what we've been able to do. And I think that's why next year we will have more product launches than any time in the history of the company. And I think as well too, probably some of the funnest and some of the coolest, excuse the pun, launches that we've ever done. And I think people are really going to like it. There's some really deadly serious products coming out that are going to be fantastic for health that we can actually make claims on because we've gone through the Austell. And there's going to be a lot of products come out that people are just going to really enjoy. And so I'm looking forward to next year.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So excited. All right. Well, that leads us into the next question, actually, because you kind of just touched on it then.
Yeah.
Imagine no restrictions on ingredients and supplements in Australia.
Yeah.
What would you develop or bring out?
Oh, my gosh.
What would be like your first product?
Matt's actually got some amazing IP that he's created with the
we probably
guys
can't
at the
what it is.
ISSN. So much so that this product's brain health, cognition, Alzheimer's. I mean, there's some. We're not bringing it out. So I can say this because this isn't a product. So like Matt's got some unbelievable concepts. I mean, and stuff as well too that we really are excited about. Not here in Australia, overseas, which is a real shame. Yeah, that's probably one. And then also fun products that people, take every day, but doing so in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people go, oh, if it tastes good, it can't be good. Or if I get a zing out of it or I get an uplift out of it, it has to be illegal ingredients. Matt's got some really awesome products coming in the consumable market that I think people are gonna like, that we will have here in Australia.
Yeah,
that's gonna be super cool. One of them is an amazing. They're not being sold into Australia, so I can say it. One of them is an incredible anabolic product using the laws of nature in a very unique way. And the other one is for brain health, and we're actually working with the guys at ISSN, including Richard Kreider, who is the grandfather of creatine, and we're looking at creatine in a new way and something really cool in that space. Again, I think probably the biggest breakthrough in creatine since creatine launched. And we're not talking about these, stupid, again, marketing concepts that people used about, creatine ethyl esters, and it just turned out to be all fake. This is fake. This is actually something really
Real
cool.
deal. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What and who determines the products that you're going to bring out next? So, and also on the back of that, how long does product development take? Which is a huge question, because I see it a lot in marketing now with products coming out. People are like, oh, we've spent the last 6 months developing this product. And I'm like, wow.
6 months. Wow, that's amazing.
If
only. Look, to be fair, some products can come out really quickly. It depends if you're trying to reinvent the wheel. It also depends on the process that you use as well too. I mean, if you're just bringing out a powder, then that can be quite rapid, depending on obviously what you're looking for. So we never look at what materials are available and then go create a product based on that. That's easy, right? And I mean, again, there's not really any point of difference, and it's not something that we would get particularly excited about. Matt's always looking at, diseases or performance or improvements in, whatever it is, and then going, right, what compound is that and what synergies does it have with other, and he'll spend ages looking at different things. From that, then we determine, can we launch that product? Is there acceptable changes? So we can't use product A, but can we use product B? And if the product is then considered to be, the best in class or something unique, and it works, then we'll bring it out here in Australia and or globally. And this is a nice thing about playing globally, is there's a lot of products that we just can't come anywhere near in Australia that we can do internationally, and we'll obviously do that. A lot of the times we'll be having a look at certain opportunities where we're saying, you know what, there's a real hole in the market here. We need to look at XYZ category. Matt, go away and think about it. So sometimes Tony and I are going to Matt, and most of the time it's me, though Tony is involved in that as well too. But that's kind of my thing, is the vision of the company, what products we're going to create, where we're going to go. Tony's done she's had her own concept on a new product launch that's coming out hopefully just before Christmas, which is super cool and really nice and tasty and
yummy.
Really, really great. So it's not always me. And then typically Tony, Matt and myself get together and we really look at it from all points. So, is this something that is best in class? Is it really going to deliver value? Is it unique? What's its selling proposition? And ultimately, if it ticks those boxes, then we go ahead and we bring that to market. The bars, I've already said, over 3 years, because we had to actually complete the complete system from the ground up. A lot of the other products that we've got coming out, the ice cream, can we say it?
No. Yeah, sure.
Because you're about to start.
No, yeah, we are about to. We're going to release it.
Okay, so by the time this podcast comes out, so the ice cream. I mean, the ice cream is something really cool. And that's
so
been,
good.
12 months in development?
Yeah, maybe even a bit more.
Yeah. Then we've got the Jolt product coming out, and that's again probably more focused for chiros, it's joints, osteos, ligaments, tendons. Then we've got a whole heap of our Ostel products which we've been working with our manufacturers. So we've got the immune, we've got the thyroid, we've got a whole heap of products. And again, the nice thing is that they're reimaginings of old products that we can no longer sell. So they are completely compliant with the TGA, which is obviously a really good thing. So look, the shortest product development is, 6 months for us. The longest has been over 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I always say, when's the best time to start? 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But these, and what's going to happen is a lot of these products are all kind of going to come together because we've been working on a lot of these projects over the past 12 months while we've been getting the snot kicked out of us by COVID. So,
That's fun.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Next question. More so about you. What books, podcasts, people have been the most influential in building the business and why?
Well, I think most people that have heard me before, Zig Ziglar is probably one of my all-time heroes, and the catchphrase is to get where you want to get in life, you've got to help as many people as, you can to get what they want from life, which, again, my fundamental belief is that of a Christian, which is the golden rule, right? Treat other people as you want to be treated. So those two things have a massive impact on the way that I look at business, the way that I treat people. I think, and look, it doesn't mean that I'm right all the time. In fact, I make a lot of mistakes. I lose my temper a lot as well too. And generally, I try to be fair. I try to forgive people where I can, but it doesn't mean I'm a sucker and I constantly go back into business with them once they've ripped you off either. Look, I think in terms of Jim Rohn, I think he's amazing as well too.
Got to mention Seth Godin, Purple Cow.
One of my absolute favourite marketers.
Yeah, I remember you made me buy all of the books and read all of the books, but I'm so thankful you did because they're awesome books.
Love Seth Godin. Seth Godin basically says, don't be the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
If you want to stand out, you've got to take chances. You can't be beige. You have to be, vibrant colours. Some people are going to love it. Other people aren't. Just be different, create, dream. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And it's funny, it's all the advice that I give to my son as well too. He's growing up. It's like, don't worry about what other people think of you per se. Some people are going to love you. Some people are going to hate you. Some people aren't going to care. Some will, some won't. So what next? It doesn't really matter. But so long as you're doing and you're living life based on what is important to you, and what values you really want to bring across. So for us, not compromising, doing the absolute best that we can, serving people, caring about people. As I said, it doesn't mean that we don't get into arguments with people, that we don't get frustrated by people. As I said, I get frustrated by people all the time and just have to remember, they're on a different journey and their values are not my values. Again, Voltaire, I may disagree with you vehemently, but I will, fight to the death to defend your right to have your view and your speech. This is something as well too. Just because I like you doesn't mean I have to agree with you, and just because I don't like you doesn't mean that I necessarily disagree with you. The problem is that the whole world at the moment is so split and so many different, because people are going, you must believe this. I mean, we're basically going back to the Knight Templars and the church being, you have one viewpoint globally and everybody must accept it. We're moving into a really weird socialist phase at the moment where unless you agree effectively with left, then some of the politicians in the United States are saying, let's start keeping lists of people who are supporting Donald Trump. Now, whether you like them or not, that's not the point. Everybody should have the right to believe, what they want, and to be freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Otherwise, we're going back to Reds under the bed in the United States, where they keep lists of communists. I mean, the boot's now effectively looking like it's trying to get onto the other foot. It's just crazy. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean we can't live in harmony. But anyway, we could go down a rabbit hole there. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is one of my favourites as well too. Yeah, I mean, Gandhi's quote that he said, which is an eye for an eye and the whole world goes blind. I love that as well too. I mean, again, there's such wisdom in some of those old proverbs. But Who Moved My Cheese is probably one of my absolute favourite books. You could read it in an afternoon. Him and Haw and Scratch and Sniff, and it just says that life is constant, there's constant change. You can't keep going back to the same well and expecting to consistently, succeed. I mean, again, you look at companies that refuse to move. I mean, massive companies that had huge monopolies, they die because they stop innovating and they rest on their laurels. You see other companies that continue to be, I mean, I think of Apple, especially when Steve Jobs was alive. I mean, creating iTunes, I mean, they reinvented themselves so many times and obviously always delivering high quality, but just always looking for what's next. So, yeah.
The cheese has moved more than ever this year. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, we've got down to our last 2 questions.
Okay.
Really, really good question. So this one is from Claire, both from Tribe members, of course.
Yep.
This one's from Claire.
Yep.
Has ATP Science grown into the company you always envisioned it to be today, or has it taken a different path and or surprised you?
Both. There's many aspects of the company that we really envisaged it to be. It certainly hasn't reached what I really, really wanted in terms of a very high level, but the journey's not over yet. It frustrates me how long things take, and I think part of that is maybe unrealistic expectations. I think part of that's also I just really didn't know, especially in Australia, how difficult business can be. And again, I'm not whinging and saying life's not fair. I know that. To me, I look at the United States as being one of the best places in the world to do business, especially, we were trying to set up, operations over in the United States. I couldn't get a building. I mean, for the last few years, I was trying to set up in Texas, and every time I'd go and put a deposit down on a building to actually build a manufacturing plant there, it would get snaffled from underneath us. And, because again, being outside of the country and we wanted certain landlord, concessions, and people would just come in and say, well, take it as is. So it's like, oh my gosh. I feel that, we have done a lot. I think we've helped a lot of people, and we're just trying, I guess, to come to grips with the new rules and legislation that seems to be coming down, especially in Australia. But we're now thinking globally as opposed to locally. We thought we would do everything locally and go globally. Now I'm just thinking globally. So I'm not thinking, how do we manufacture everything in Australia, which is so sad. I just don't understand why Australia can be so stupid sometimes in terms of the way that we could. I mean, we're a great country. We've got amazing innovators, but yet our ability to commercialize that innovation in many industries is really stifled. We've got too much red tape. I mean, I could really go off on a tangent. But to answer the question, I am really proud of what we have been able to achieve as a team. I'm frustrated at the same time, but with age comes a bit of wisdom, and so I think the next 10 years is going to be a heck of a lot faster than the last 10 years. And it does take time to get that base and that foundation, that thought process and the contacts and the understanding. So
definitely. Okay, final question. What is, and this is from Paul in the tribe, really good question. What is an important lesson that you've learnt which you would not have likely learnt if it wasn't for your journey with ATP Science?
Life's not fair. And I mean that not just from a point of view of people say it, but it's a cliche, but then just not throwing a tantrum when things don't go your way. It doesn't mean you don't get frustrated and angry, but you just have to, life at the end of the day, I mean, that old saying is that you're the captain of your soul and you're the commander of your life and the way that you do things and react to things. Learning to deal with the unfairness of life, if that makes sense, in a way that, again, sometimes you feel singled out and it's like, why me? Why is this happening to us? Why isn't this happening to all other companies in the industry? So I think that's one. I think that if you're really committed to making a difference, you've got to pay the price. There's no shortcuts to success. There really isn't. And while we've been successful, I still wouldn't consider the company to be a success per se. Constantly dealing with the changes of constant change. Like, what do you say? So difficult sometimes when you think you can rely on certain partners, but then to understand that they have their own priorities. So there have been people and companies that we've partnered with that just, they've got their own agenda. And that's not always necessarily to take you out. It's just because they're protecting what they've done. People are people, and they've got their own agenda. And if you can find out a way where both agendas align, then you get a win-win. If you can't, then someone's on the losing end of an equation. And those are the sorts of relationships that aren't good. And it doesn't mean that, being vindictive and going out to crush somebody. So funny. We've had people move into this industry that have said to other people that we know that their number one goal is to destroy ATP Science and to take our market share. It's like, wow.
Yeah, crazy.
If you succeed, you still lose. Not that you will, but it's just so much vitriol, so much hate, trying not to take that on board, trying not to go down the rabbit hole of, I feel like Luke Skywalker, don't give in to hate, I am your father.
It's true though, it can consume you.
Oh, it does, and as I said, even if you win, you lose, because you've all of a sudden you've become just it's a zero-sum game. It's if you win, I lose. If you lose, I win. It's so we need to think higher. So trying and also practicing on a daily, not to allow that upset and hurt to change and shape the way that we do business, not to get into the gutter and fight dirty. Those are the things that are a constant challenge. So probably learning more about myself and the character, because you can say one thing and do another and you just become a hypocrite. So truly trying to understand and understand where people are coming from, providing those sorts of living life at peace with people as much as possibly. So all that has actually come from being in it where, again, you have people attack you, misalign you. We had some incidents a few years ago where we were just attacked really horribly by some so-called experts that literally didn't have two brain cells to run together, yet people wouldn't even read the article that they had written and yet take it as gospel. Like, that is just so chagrin. It's like, oh my gosh, read the article. They're not even talking about the same compounds. They would misquote. It's just horrible. And just so to see that nastiness, it's just like, but learning to deal with that and go, you know what? That's life. You're always going to have opposition. And how do you just carry through, even if you, take some cops along the way that aren't fair? It's just life, I guess. It's easy to get negative, with COVID, with the shutdowns, with the borders. I mean, there's so many things that just frustrate me, or I just want to strangle somebody. I mean, I feel so sorry for the people down in Victoria. The whole world at the moment is just, on its head with the whole, elections in the United States. So much hate and contempt for people on the other side. There doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of positivity coming out of this, but, that's what we need to get back to, is positive, kindness, love.
Lifting each other up.
Yeah, instead of trying to drag one another down all the time. So, I don't know.
Well,
how's that?
I think that was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that interview and conversation. We're going to aim to do an episode a month. So each episode will be different. There'll be guests, interview people in the company, maybe outside of the company. I don't know. This is so new. Not sure yet. But what we will do is we'll continue to answer your questions. So if you do have questions, send them through. Just email info@atpscience.com. Just DM us, anything, wherever you like to reach us, send us through a question and we'll add it into the show. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to hear what people want to hear. I mean, I'm here to answer your questions. I mean, I know that
creating that relationship with the company, understanding what our DNA is, what our philosophies are. There's a lot of stuff that you might know and go, hang on a minute, I've heard this, and is that true? I'm happy to answer anything.
Like we say, the raw CEO.
Absolutely.
It's raw.
If you've got questions, I'm here to answer them. So, but anyway, again, wishing everyone the best. Hope you have a great week. If you've got anything you really want to know about us, what we stand for, what we believe in, what our next product launch is, we're happy to share that information as much as we can. So
definitely.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys.